unveiling treasures from history, where every coin tells a story. This is Rare Coins.
Imagine finding a simple 1964D penny in your change, only to learn it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into the secrets behind the 1964D. Lincoln cent. What makes it special? What errors to look for? And how much yours could really be worth? Before we begin, support our journey by subscribing to Hidden Gold Hunter. Every subscribe helps us continue our struggle to uncover rare treasures and hidden value in ordinary coins. Thank you. The 1964D Lincoln penny might seem like just another copper coin, but it's hiding one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage history. Let's rewind to 1964. The US Mint in Denver was working overtime to meet the growing demand for coins. Millions of Americans were collecting pennies, and with that craze came some incredible minting varieties and errors. On the front, we have the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, are hidden at the base of Lincoln's shoulder. The backside features the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to replace the classic wheat ears. You can see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial if you look closely. One of the most overlooked details in American coins. This coin is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, heavier than the modern zinc pennies you find today. That's why older pennies sound different when dropped. They have that solid ring of real copper. The Denver Mint struck more than 3.7 billion of these pennies that year. So yes, it's a common coin. But here's where it gets interesting. The value lies in condition and minting errors. Some of the most valuable errors to look for include the double die obverse, where you'll notice doubling in the date or the word. Liberty. These can be worth from $50 up to $500, depending on clarity. Then there's the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing on one side. Those can bring $150 to $300. You might also find die cracks or cuds, which look like raised lines or blobs of metal near Lincoln's head or the rim. These can sell for $30 to $100. Repunched mint mark, where you see a faint second D under the main one, is another hot find. Those can go for $75 to $250. And finally, a clipped plancher error, where part of the edge is missing, can easily fetch $50 to $200. Now let's talk about condition and value. A circulated 1964D penny is usually worth around 2 to 10 cents, mostly for its copper content. In uncirculated condition, graded around MS60 to MS63, it can go for $1 to $3. A gem red example, graded MS65 or better, might bring $15 to $40. But if you're lucky enough to find a top-graded MS67 red example, you could be looking at $250 to $500. And if yours has a major error, it could reach over $1,000. You can still find these coins today in your home. Check old jars, inherited boxes, garage sales, or even bankrolls. Many people overlook these old copper pennies thinking they're worthless, but the real treasure lies in the details. 1964 was also an interesting year in US coin history. The mint was under pressure from a national coin shortage, so they struck billions of coins rapidly. When production speeds up, mistakes happen. And that's why 1964D pennies have such a variety of valuable errors. So next time you see a dull brown penny in your change, take a second look. That tiny D under the date might just be your lucky sign. A small piece of copper with a story, a mistake, and maybe even a hidden fortune. Every coin tells a story. And the 1964D Lincoln penny tells one of hard work, overlooked value, and American history. Who knows? Your next penny could be the one that changes everything. If I told you that a penny minted just a couple of years ago, a 2022D Lincoln Shield cent, could fetch $125,000, you'd probably think I'm joking, right? But the truth is, modern pennies are surprising collectors everywhere. And this one, fresh from the Denver Mint, has already made waves in the coin world. It looks like any other penny in your pocket. Yet some of its rarest varieties have brought absolutely jaw-dropping prices at auction. Let's start with why this particular year matters. The 2022D penny carries the D mint mark under the date, struck at the Denver Mint, one of America's busiest facilities. By this time, the shield cent had already become the standard design. Introduced in 2010, symbolizing unity and strength after decades of the Lincoln Memorial reverse. But in 2022, something interesting happened. Despite the high mintage, over 7 billion coins, collectors started spotting small imperfections, mint errors, and double designs that shouldn't exist with modern technology. Those flaws, however, are what make certain coins worth more than some people's cars. Imagine pulling a 2022D penny from your change that looks ordinary until you notice something off. A doubled, liberty, a missing letter, or a strange die crack running across the shield. Those are the pennies collectors pay attention to. The design itself tells a story. On the front, Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, stares forward with quiet determination. A design that's graced US pennies since 1909. Flip it, and the reverse shows the bold Union shield designed by Lyndall Bass, sculpted by Joseph Menner. 13 vertical stripes represent the original. Colonies joined under one. Banner that reads E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. The shield stands for strength, and on the scroll above, the word 1 cent reminds you that even the smallest denomination carries the symbol of unity. Now let's talk about condition, because with modern coins, that's where the money hides. Most 2022D pennies you find in circulation are worth, well, a cent. But in pristine mint state 67 red or higher, prices can jump dramatically. Certified examples graded by PCGS or NGC have already sold between $300, $1,000. Move up to MS68 red, and you're looking at $5,000, $8,500. And then there are the ultra-rare mint errors, the ones that make collectors' jaws drop. One spectacular off-center strike in blazing red sold for $22,000, a major die break, forming a huge raised lump on Lincoln's bust. Fetched nearly $45,000, but the most shocking find, a 2022D double die obverse, showing strong doubling on the date and motto, verified by experts, sold privately for a staggering $126,000. That's right, over 6 figures for a penny minted just 3 years ago. How can such a modern coin command those prices? Because quality control at the mint isn't perfect. When dies clash, misalign, or get polished too much, they create a one-of-a-kind pattern. Here's the exciting part. You could still find one. These coins are everywhere right now, quietly circulating through stores, coffee shops, gas stations, and banks. If you want to start hunting, begin at home. Go through your penny jars, piggy banks, coin trays, and those old drawers where loose change piles up. You'd be amazed how many people have modern treasures sitting untouched for years. Then try coin roll hunting. Grab a box of pennies from your local bank. Open roll after roll, and use a magnifying glass or phone camera to check each one. Look closely at In God We Trust, Liberty, and the date. Any clear doubling or odd raised metal might be the clue to a life-changing discovery. Once you find something interesting, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning removes the original surface and slashes value instantly. Handle it by the edges, slide it into a protective holder, and research it on Variety Vista, Copper Coins, or PCGS Coinfax to see if it matches a known variety. If it does, or if you're uncertain but it looks dramatic, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. A certified label is your golden ticket when it's time to sell. Selling is where many new collectors make mistakes, so be smart. For top-tier errors or high-grade coins, auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections can bring huge exposure and bidding wars. For smaller but still valuable coins, platforms like eBay, Whatnot, or reputable Facebook coin groups work great. Always show clear front and back photos and the certification if you have it. Now maybe you're wondering, why should I even check my pocket change? Because stories like these happen every year. Ordinary people, not dealers, not professionals, have found rare modern coins worth thousands. A man in Ohio discovered a 2022D penny with a major die clash in a soda machine. It sold for $19,800. A teenager in Texas pulled one from a Coinstar. Reject tray worth $12,000. You never know where these coins are hiding. And here's the deeper message. Coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about history hiding in plain sight. Each coin connects us to a story, a time, and the people who used it. The 2022D penny may seem modern, but in 100 years, collectors will look back and wish they had searched harder when these were still in circulation. So tonight, Before you dump that handful of change into a jar, take one more look. Check the date. If you spot 2022 with a little D, give it a second's attention. That tiny copper coin could be the start of your next treasure hunt, or your ticket to a six-figure payday. And if you're new here, make sure to support our struggle and subscribe to Hidden Gold Hunter. Every subscription helps keep the hunt alive, helping us bring you more hidden stories, more discoveries, and more ways to turn your everyday change into something extraordinary. Remember, the next time you hold a penny, don't see it as just 1 cent. See it as a piece of American history that might just change your life. This is Hidden Gold Hunter, signing off. Keep hunting, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a single coin. If I told you there's a modern penny from just a few years ago that could be worth 110,000, would you believe it? Most people wouldn't. They'd probably laugh and say, "Come on, it's just a new penny. I see those every day." But collectors know something most people don't. The 2017 Lincoln Shield penny isn't just any ordinary coin. It's one of the most historic, surprising, and collectible modern cents in recent US coin history. And yes, some rare errors and varieties from this year have brought 5 and even 6-figure prices at auction. Now, before we jump into the value, let's start with the story, because this penny is special right from the mint. The year 2017 marked the 225th anniversary of the US Mint, and to celebrate, they did something they hadn't done in more than 2 centuries. They added a small P mint mark to the Lincoln penny made in Philadelphia. It was the very first time ever that a Philadelphia minted Lincoln cent carried a visible P. So if you see a small P under the date on your penny, that's a piece of American coin history in your hand. Millions were minted, yes, but here's where it gets interesting. Some 2017 P pennies came out with striking errors, doubled dies, die breaks, and off-center misstrikes that made them worth thousands. And even though it's a recent coin, collectors are already hunting for pristine examples, coins that still shine with that original red copper glow, untouched by circulation. Let's talk design for a moment. The obverse features the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, just like it has since 1909. But flip the coin over and you'll see the Union Shield, a bold, modern symbol introduced in 2010. It carries 13 vertical stripes, representing the original colonies, joined under a single banner of unity. And across that banner, the words, "E pluribus unum," out of many, one. It's a simple but powerful design, one that ties our nation's history and unity into a single cent. Now, let's get into the values. The part every treasure hunter loves, a regular 2017 penny. You find in your change might just be worth face value, of course. But that changes the moment you spot a coin with a mint error or in perfect uncirculated condition. Even lightly circulated examples can bring $2 to $10 if they're bright red and well struck. But if you find a mint state 67 red or higher, certified by PCGS or NGC, those can sell for $1,000 to $1,800. Now here's where it gets crazy. A double die obverse, especially one showing doubling on Liberty or the date, has sold for $15,000 to $25,000 depending on condition. And rare off-center strikes or major die breaks, those cuds, collectors love, have hit $40,000, 60-ton, and even above $100,000 in documented auction results. So yes, a 6-figure modern penny exists, and it's from 2017. So what exactly makes those high-dollar examples so rare? The mint's quality control is usually excellent, but even with modern technology, mistakes happen. And because collectors jump on these errors immediately, finding one in circulation is like hitting a tiny jackpot. Still, they're out there, and people have pulled them right out of pocket change, coffee shop jars, and even bankrolls. Speaking of which, where can you find one? Start at home. Check your old coin jars, kitchen drawers, piggy banks, or even the bottom of your car's cup holder. 2017 isn't that long ago. Chances are you've already got a few of these pennies lying around. Next, go coin roll hunting. Ask your bank for rolls of pennies and search through them under bright light or a magnifying glass. Keep your eye out for strong, crisp details and that tiny P below the date. You never know. Your next $100,000 discovery could be sitting inside a 25 bank box. And if you find something promising, don't rush to sell it just yet. Handle it carefully by the edges. Don't clean it. and place it in a protective holder or coin flip. Cleaning removes the natural surface, which can destroy value instantly. Once it's safe, take clear photos and compare it to listings on PCGS Coin Facts, Variety Vista, or coppercoins.com. Those are great resources for spotting known 2017p varieties. When you're sure it's something special, send it off to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. Certification gives your coin credibility and can multiply its value when selling. Then you can auction it on heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, or even Great Collections, the same platforms where some of these 2017p errors have brought in record-breaking prices. For smaller finds or early collector interest, you can also list it on eBay, Whatnot, or Facebook coin groups, where thousands of enthusiasts are searching every day for the next big error coin. Now, here's the exciting part about this particular year. Because it's so recent, many collectors ignored these pennies at first, but that's changing fast. Coin experts predict that within the next 20 years, top quality 2017p Shield cents could become key date modern collectibles, right alongside classics like the 1955 Didio or 1972 Double Die. Why? Because it's the only year ever that Philadelphia's pennies carried a visible mint mark, and that makes it a one-year-only design. Once people realize that, demand and prices will rise even more. So, if you've been thinking about starting your coin hunting journey, this is your sign. The 2017p penny is the perfect bridge between history and modern treasure hunting. It's proof that you don't have to dig through the 1800s to find value. Sometimes, you just need to check your pocket change from a few years ago. So tonight, before you toss your pennies in a jar, stop for a second. Oak for that tiny P under the date. It could be a common cent, or it could be a hidden six-figure treasure just waiting for you to recognize it. Remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story doesn't start a century ago. It starts right in your own home. This is Hidden Gold Hunter reminding you, keep your eyes open, your hands steady, and your hopes high, because the next coin you find might just change your life. Imagine pulling a nearly century-old penny from your change jar, a small, brown coin that's seen more than 100 years of American history, and discovering that it could be worth $125,000 or more. That coin might just be the 1921D Lincoln Wheat penny, one of the most underrated but increasingly valuable coins in the entire Lincoln cent series. Now, most people glance at an old penny and think, it's just 1 cent. But collectors? They see something else: survival, scarcity, and a story that began more than a century ago in Denver, Colorado, during one of the toughest economic times in the early 1900s. Back in 1921, America was struggling through a sharp post-war recession. Mint production slowed to a crawl, and fewer coins were struck that year. The Denver Mint produced just a little over 39 million Lincoln cents, a relatively small number compared with other years. And because most of them entered everyday circulation, finding a clean, uncirculated 1921D today is like striking gold. Let's talk design. On the obverse, we see Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, his face calm yet determined, a tribute to the man who held the Union together. Flip the coin over and you'll see 2 graceful wheat ears, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. That simple wheat design ran from 1909 to 1958 and has become one of the most beloved images in US coinage. Together, those wheat stalks symbolize growth, strength and renewal, fitting for a coin born during a period of American recovery. Now here's what makes the 1921D so special: condition and scarcity. Even though millions were minted, very few survived in high grade. Most circulated heavily for decades, worn smooth through the Great Depression and World War II. A well-worn example might fetch $3 to $15, but once you step into higher grades, XF, extremely fine, or AU, about uncirculated, prices shoot to $150, $350. But when you reach mint state, that's where things get wild. An MS65 red 1921D, with blazing copper luster and almost no marks, can bring over $15,000 at auction. In MS66 red, where perfection meets history, you're talking $40,000 to $60,000. And the finest known examples, MS67 red, verified by PCGS and NGC, have commanded prices above $120,000, depending on market demand. One coin like that turned up in a private collection in the early 2000s. It had sat untouched in an old Whitman folder for decades. When the owner finally had it graded, it came back MS67 red-brown, and within weeks it sold for nearly $100,000. That's one penny from a change drawer, paying for a luxury car. Why such high value? Because the Denver Mint in 1921 had limited resources and less precise quality control. Many coins came out with weak strikes. Lincoln's beard and hair often lack detail, and the wheat ears appear soft. So, when a sharply struck, bright red example surfaces, collectors fight for it. There are maybe only a handful in that elite condition. So where could you find one? Start close to home. That's the fun part. Check your old coin jars, dresser drawers, and especially any coin albums or inheritance boxes from older relatives. Many families kept wheat pennies without realizing what's inside. If you want to get serious, visit local coin shops, estate sales, and flea markets. Those are treasure grounds. Online, look for unsearched penny rolls labeled mixed wheat cents. Every so often, collectors have pulled out 1920s pennies worth hundreds of dollars from them. And don't overlook coin roll hunting. It's rare, but wheat pennies from the 1920s still turn up in bank rolls. Imagine being the person who finds a century-old 1921D in a modern roll. It happens. When you spot one, examine it carefully. A strong D mint mark under the date is your first clue. Then check the color, red, red-brown, or brown, because color dramatically affects value. Look for clean rims, full wheat lines on the reverse, and a clear strike on Lincoln's beard and cheek. Those details separate a $1,000 coin from a $10 one. And here's a golden rule: never clean it. Even gentle cleaning can destroy the natural surface and cut the value by 90%. Instead, hold it by the edges and place it in a coin flip or capsule. Preserve it as is. Let the experts handle the rest. Next step, get it certified. Send it to PCGS or NGC for grading and authentication. Certified grade gives collectors confidence and ensures you get full market value. Once certified, you can sell it through heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or even great collections if you want global exposure. For moderately valuable coins, eBay, Whatnot, and Facebook Collector groups are great too. Just include high-resolution photos and your certification number. Now let's talk about future value. The 1921 D penny sits right between two key eras: pre-Depression America and the modern numismatic boom. Every year, fewer uncirculated examples remain, and demand keeps climbing. Younger collectors are chasing early Denver Mint Lincolns because they're tough to find and still somewhat affordable. So if you're holding a nice example, think long-term. In the next 10-20 years, we could easily see top-grade 1921 D cents crossing the $150,000 mark. The beauty of collecting coins like this is that they connect us to real history. That 1921 D penny may have bought a loaf of bread during the Roaring '20s, survived the stock market crash, or ridden in a soldier's pocket during World War II. Each scratch, each tone of color carries a story from someone's life. And now, that story rests in your hand. So before you spend that old penny or toss it aside, take a moment, look at the date, check for the D mint mark, and ask yourself, could this be one of the survivors? Because hidden treasures aren't always buried deep underground. Sometimes they're sitting quietly in a coin jar in your own home, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a bit of curiosity to notice. So grab a magnifier, a little patience, and start looking. Your next discovery might not just be worth a few dollars, it might be worth $125,000, and it could be sitting right there in your hand this very moment. This is Hidden Gold Hunter, reminding you, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story ends in gold.